respected dignitaries and esteemed members. It is an honor to initiate this special session on CA2 CEO as we celebrate the Golden Jubilee of EIRC of ICAI. Today, the journey from Chartered Accountant to Chief Executive Officer stands as a powerful example of how our training builds strategists, problem solvers, and leaders grounded in ethics and clarity of thought. This session celebrates that transformation from mastering numbers to guiding people, from analyzing decisions to shaping vision, from managing compliance to driving growth. As we begin, let us recognize the limitless leadership potential within every chartered accountant and the strong foundation of ICI has created over these 50 glorious years. Now, I shall call upon CA Sanjay Jain, Convener, Central Kolkata CP Study Circle of EIRC. Esteemed panelist, CA Alok Garodia, Managing Director, Jupiter International. Esteemed panelist, CA Apurva Salarpuria, ED Salarpuria Group. Esteemed moderator of the session, CA Saurabh Palsania, Joint President, Sri Cement Limited. Please come, sir. This session will continue for half an hour up to 5:30. Now I will introduce before you CA Alok Garodia. CA Alok Garodia, Managing Director of Jupiter International Limited, is a visionary entrepreneur who founded a leading IT peripherals brand and later led Jupiter's expansion into solar manufacturing, growing it into a 1 GW operation and a key player in India's renewable energy sector. Known for his collaborative leadership and focus on innovation and excellence, he continues to drive Jupiter's mission forward. Now it is turn for CA Apurva Salarpuria's introduction. CA Apurva Salarpuria, CEO of Salarpuria Group, is a qualified chartered accountant who began his career with KPMG before joining the group in 2005. He has since played a key role in expanding the organization across Eastern India and delivering major residential, commercial, and hospitality projects. A passionate angel investor and advocate of innovation and quality, he continues to lead the Salarpuria Group with strong values and a forward-looking vision. Thank you.
Okay. So, happy afternoon, everyone. So, welcome to the sensational and very important session, as we will be discussing about the transformation journey of fellow colleagues, fellow chartered accountants to being the successful entrepreneurs. So, age is not the number, so I'll say that every one of us can take the advantage to learn how that line of comfort can be crossed and we chartered accountants can be successful entrepreneurs. And as we know, today in India, there are around 73 private unicorns. And out of that, only 6 or 7 unicorns are being led by chartered accountants. Why not this number can be increased? So for that, we need to learn from this inspirational story of these, esteemed guests here who can tell about the ways to overcome that fear and take the stride into entrepreneurship. So welcome, sir. So Alokji, I'll just like to ask you that after being a successful chartered accountant, what is that mindset which mind shift, you can say, which helped you to move towards this, say, manufacturing journey or establishing your organization, I mean, high-tech organization into, say, a successful organization?
Thank you, Saurav. The biggest mindset change, if you ask me, it's more of like a functional to an entrepreneur, which makes whole of a difference. If you understand and if you know what CA has taught us to be very precise, very risk assessor, and then if you ask me, to be a very compliant. This is more, if you ask me, truly goes to a professionals or a very functional role. But if you look to have a shift, the most important for an entrepreneur to be curious means you have to be a learner on a daily basis. You have to keep on evaluating the changes which is happening in the world, keep on learning on a day-to-day basis. Then definitely you have to have a risk. When you assess your risk, then how much risk you can take. The entrepreneur is the one who takes a risk. So these are the few things which you asked me, which adds value to be an entrepreneur. Otherwise, you can't be a successful entrepreneur if you can't assess the risk, which if you ask me, the CA has taught me, but simultaneously my mind shift has been taken place to take the risk as well. And the one more point which is very important for an entrepreneur, to believe in your people. If you doesn't believe, if you doesn't empower your people, the entrepreneur cannot be a successful. So the three takes for me: learner, believe in your people, and risk taker.
Great. And I think that risk taking will come back to you, how one is inspired to take that risk and what motivates him to, cross that line.
Sure.
So Alokji Apurji coming to you, after say passing, you can say qualifying a CA course and getting into KPMG to shape up your professional journey, what inspired you to get into the business, family business, and what was that, I'll say that one factor that led you to come out of your professional journey in KPMG to the family business?
So, Saurabhji, thank you. Before I come to your question, congratulations to EIRC of Icai Eye on the 15th Jubilee. Thank you for having me here. And I just want to kind of share a small experience, because while I'm a CA, I've always been on the industry side. And one thing which I've noticed over these years, that whenever I'm sitting in a gathering, either with government officials as part of, industry body, or, amongst partners and colleagues, in a discussion, whenever I have been mentioned that I'm a chartered accountant, people suddenly have looked at me differently, and my words have suddenly have more weightage. So I think, this is something which I'm very, very grateful that the fraternity has given us. And the reason I'm sharing this is that often I've seen that around me, a lot of the chartered accountants are not realizing the weightage which the society and, people at large are giving the title that we have or the accolade we have. And I think we should be a little more proud of it. So I just wanted to share that little piece.
I totally agree with Apurva. It's a one.
Right.
I will just add, because the question is to Apurva, but still I will add. It's really immense. On my last 40 years of experience, I have seen how the weightage has been given by even the smallest officer of a government organization to even a secretary level the moment they know that I'm a chartered accountant. Sometimes we feel that the IITs and IIMs are the one who runs the big shows, but trust me, we are equally capable of running any big organization.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, not at all. So Saurabhji, coming back to your question, I'll just give you a quick little background. So I'm actually a third generation chartered accountant. My grandfather was a chartered accountant, and so was my father. And they were, my grandfather had set up a firm which still continues to exist. So very early on in life, my early aspirations were to become a chartered accountant. It was almost the natural kind of path, and without even thinking much, I was into the journey of at least educating myself to become a chartered accountant. And somewhere in the early years of my kind of education in this field, my family had also started this business, and I was very fascinated with the idea of being able to create something. And we were even early back then in the real estate field, and the idea that you can imagine something, work towards making it come to life, and see it function. And that is the pleasure that we get today in the business that we do. And I was very, very fascinated with that thought. And very honestly, that is what kind of led me to choose this. Of course, the opportunity also presented itself as a much larger opportunity from my point of view when I was looking at it then. But of course, there were a number of things from my days at KPMG and from my education which I could take forward, and we can maybe talk about it in course of the discussion today.
So, adding to this, colleagues, I'll just tell you one more thing, that we can understand that whether it is any entrepreneur, if he's a chartered accountant, the trust and towards the compliances, towards the execution part, the presenting the balance sheets and all, what a chartered accountant commands, I think not an IITian cannot command that. And the risk is that why we feel the risk, because we feel that we do not know the engineering part of the business. But let me tell you one thing here, that I am also a chartered accountant, and I got this opportunity to set up a cement plant. And the story is behind it is that the trust that the owners like Mr. H.M. Bangat placed, that yes, he is a chartered accountant and he will not waste the money. And that's why he gave the opportunity to set up a cement plant, and I headed it and successfully done that. So that is the trust that CA commands. Thank you. So I think coming back to Alokji, I'll just say that cement, that definitely it's not a rocket science. And setting up a cement plant or running a cement organization, you don't need a IITian. But seeing your progress, you were there, you started with IT peripherals and moved into renewable energy without having any technical background. So what is that that made you to take that risk, and what were the major challenges that you faced during that journey?
The challenges from moving to a solar or a tech industry, basically definitely a technology, no doubt about it, one. The second, solar industry or the solar manufacturing is the one which is a very, very capital intensive. And the third is a global competitiveness. These are the three challenges which are there for this industry. If you ask me how I mitigated it, definitely from a commerce background, studied CA, but I don't feel any difference between a tech graduate to a CA graduate. Even if you see in your life, the tech graduates also understand how the balance sheets have been prepared. So for me, I met a lot of technological engineers, people understands the industries, and top of it, I made them a part of my journey. Just to share with you, I have a IIT engineer who is working with me for last 23 years. The IIM graduate who is working with me for last 24 years. So basically you have to move with the people who are there. As I told you, that an entrepreneur has to be, know how to manage people. Second, definitely it's a very, very highly capital intensive. And here I will say my education has helped me how to mitigate the capitals in innovative ways, because it's not so simple and not so easy. And definitely the global competitiveness, I will say that still we are lagging. We are fighting it out, but this is where we have to live because we are second manufacturer after China. We are still in a very nascent stage of this industry, but really we are happy that still we are able to find our places in the world market, that India is a second solar manufacturing country in the world.
Right. So, but I'll just like to continue with this question. I mean, for the audience here, I think whenever there is an idea of becoming an entrepreneur, and I mean, that comes to a chartered accountant with the thing that I have to set up a solar manufacturing unit. Now, what is that which came into your mind that how and you will, I mean, how you will get success into it without having that background knowledge? Is it because of the employees that you were having, or that you did extensive studies and thought that yes, it can be done because of these things?
Okay, if you ask me, the entrepreneur has to first evaluate the opportunities which are there in the near future. I can't say a distant future, that's for the tech entrepreneurs. For like a professional, for a CA entrepreneurs, I will say that it's like a opportunities which you can have to visualize. That's why I say you have to keep your eyes and ear open, keep on seeing it. Just to give my story on the background of it, we were participating in an exhibition in 2007 in Germany. And Germany was booming for a solar industry like anything at that moment of time. And whoever is coming to our stalls talking about solar, solar, solar. So along with me and my CEO, we thought, let's explore this industry. So we done a very extensive research for a year, from 2007 June to 2008 beginning. And that one aspect made me to decide to move on to the solar. But before that, of course, it's a major risk, how you want to evaluate your risk and how much risk you can take. That's again for an entrepreneur, that is very important for every entrepreneur to assess your risk, assess your ability of risk taking. Because every human being is different in terms of taking the risks.
Yeah.
You may take a 1 rupee risk, I may take a 2 rupee, but again, it is your evaluations yourselves, and then accordingly, you decide for the industry or a business and move on accordingly.
Got it. So, Apurji, I think, I mean, a chartered accountant has a good financial background and he can evaluate everything. Maybe a business opportunity that Alokji was saying, you have assessed the business opportunity, you can assess the business opportunity, you can see that what, say, profitability or EBITDA it will give. But what are those other skills that you felt that you should attain or you should have to switch on to this entrepreneurial journey, which gave you confidence that I am good at finance, but these are the things which helped you, or skills which helped you to say gain the leadership?
So, Saurabhji, again, my apologies, but I just want to add a little bit of a precursor before I specifically answer that question. I'm saying it's also important for each one of us to assess what our inherent strengths and weaknesses are. Everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur. Everybody doesn't have to be a practitioner. You have to first figure out whether that is your aptitude and that is your area of interest. So I must kind of put that forward because, we celebrate entrepreneurship a lot, but that does not mean that, that is the only thing to celebrate. There are so many different, the profession is a highly respected and noble thing as well, with opportunities also beyond the traditional kind of piece. Now, having said that, as you get into entrepreneurship, essentially you are talking about leading an organization and that means leading people. So beyond, I think the largest sets of challenges that you are dealing with are people-related challenges. So I think for me, the largest sets of learnings, and I think it will continue for the next many decades till I am able to, do business, is to understand people better, to understand their motivations, to understand what they are fearful of, and how do we kind of channelize our company's goals with their goals. So I think at a very high level, that is the people challenges are the largest challenges which you deal with. And if you can align people to work with towards the organizational goals, it works far beyond processes, because आप process बनाते हो कोई, you envisaging certain sets of situations, or in the real world things move much beyond the sets of things which we imagine. If people are aligned and motivated to achieve what you are also wanting to achieve, they will figure out better ways to achieve it as and when required. And I think that is, so if I were to kind of say HR not in the sense we used to think about it as administrative HR, but strategic HR, I think that is the one piece which I'm trying to learn more and more, that how do we kind of work on this and align people to the organizational goals.
I think that is what Alokji was also telling, that people power is very important. And assessing the people's strength and weaknesses and deploying them at the right place.
And one thing I'll just add, I think we've in multiple times during our discussion already in the last 15 minutes, the word risk has come out multiple times. And I think as chartered accountants, that is something which we are inherently trained to look at. And from a long term, see, while businesses are there to generate returns, to create output, long-term sustainability means that risk management has to be a continuous and a deep process. It is, we don't celebrate risk management, we celebrate, risk taking. But risk management at an organizational level, only when you manage your overall existential risk, you are able to go out and take risk on particular projects or things. So I think as chartered accountants, we are inherently trained and in a good position to manage overall risk. And I think I have got that, from the profession, from the background that I've, been able to access from the fraternity, that I'm able to at least see the larger risk, and it enables us to then take specific risks. So I think that is also something which is under-celebrated.
But continuing that, how was your KPMG experience helped you in your business?
KPMG, I must congratulate them. They have been, a global firm and in existence for so many decades and going strong, just like a lot of their peers. When I went in, and this is now, of course, over 20 years ago, but on the first week they had an orientation program. I thought they will be telling us about some legal stuff and, some other compliance and things like that. You will not believe the kind of things which were there part of the orientation. They actually, made us, back then we used to punch all of these, punch files, and you were extensively used. How you fold and create that perfect punch. Whether when you are putting a staple, it should be at an angle so that you can read. So what I'm trying to say is that the kind of attention to detail which was there, we never think of these things as training. So that is something which I learned, is that attention to detail, and if you can train people, to look for that detail, it, solves a lot of, otherwise you are every time you are getting a document which is not perfect and it irritates you, or you are coming back and think those small little things have a lot of value which we don't realize. I think that is one aspect. And the other thing is, the entire audit approach was a very process-oriented approach. We were basically mapping the entire process for each function, and then doing a test audit to see whether the controls in that function were working or not. It was a control-oriented approach, and of course, this is lot of software which are probably used right now, and that really helped me appreciate processes and controls. And today, when we look at our own organization or new projects and things, I think that approach to bring in those controls and to have more defined or visualized processes, I think that is something I've really gained from that experience.
Great. I think, just putting it in another way, if a chartered accountant who wants to get into entrepreneurship, can we say that doing an MBA course or working in a company like Big Fours will help them to grow their business faster?
Faster, slower, I don't know. I'm saying there are different ways to reach one destination. यहाँ से अगर हमको अलीपुर जाना है तो हम माँ फ्लाईओवर से भी जा सकते हैं, लेकिन 4 नंबर ब्रिज से भी जा सकते हैं. I think we have to figure out what our own strengths are, and we have to figure out which is the best approach for each person. I know this is a conference of chartered accountants, I'm a CA, but I don't want to kind of delusionally say that that is the best or the only way to kind of do it. There are various ways and each one has to, the chartered accountancy course brings in a lot of discipline, brings in a lot of rigor, brings in, process orientation. Some of the other courses like an MBA, etc., sometimes bring in some other or highlight more aspects such as, communication skills, people management skills. But, in either case, you have to supplement it with your own learning and your own experiences over a period of time. So it has definitely helped me immensely. And there is a lot of learning that we can take from there. But, equally there are other opportunities also to do that.
Great. So coming back to Apurji, say, means for a capital-intensive industry like solar, we know that financial modeling and financial, say, knowledge is very important. But how are you managing, say, ensuring due diligences and compliances and cost effectiveness while scaling up the operations?
If you ask me honestly, being a chartered accountant, it's like embedded in the mindsets. The day you start processing anything, the process starts you setting up from the day one. If you ask me see, it's like your conviction, how you goes into it. Definitely, it's a very simple way, every organization who is growing, they evaluate each and every expenses, each and every capex, what they want to do, how they want to do, what it is there. So it's all been embedded. Honestly, if you ask me, being a chartered accountant, I never thought of that it is to be need a learning of it.
Yeah.
It's automatically come in, यार ये काम कर रहे हैं, इसका ये processes SOPs बना दो. So it comes naturally, but definitely when we go into our organizations, we give the authority. Even if you ask me, in my organization, the profit loss goes up to the department level. It's not at the top level. Even at our organization levels, the cost efficiencies, they have to talk cost efficiencies at each and every departmental level. Otherwise, the industry in which I am, I can't survive. So I don't know how to answer it, but somehow it comes naturally to me to make the SOPs of any processes which is going to be implemented in the organization.
Great. I think that SOPs definitely help in every area, every field. So I'll just ask one question, which is maybe common question between you, and you can answer, maybe Apurji can answer, and then you can answer. That what is that one advice to all the colleagues here, or all the budding chartered accountants, that what I personally feel is that crossing a comfort line is very important to go through that journey from professional to entrepreneurship. And because first of every month, which gives us a cash flow, makes us more comfortable being a employee, and being a practitioner also, maybe 10 or 20 clients may give us a satisfaction level that yes, we are earning well. But then crossing that line, and at this moment of time when you say that India is the 4th largest economy, and maybe by the end of the next decade, we may be amongst the first 2. So this may be the best of opportunities to get into the entrepreneurship in the next 10 years. So what say attributes one should build, or what is how they should start thinking what can matter in their life to give them motivate them to take that stride across that comfort line?
I'm just sharing my point of view, and I think one, entrepreneurship is more often than not a linear journey. There are lots of ups and downs, especially early on when you are setting up. For example, I I had moved back here about 18, 19 years to set up. We had set up the business here in Calcutta from scratch. And what I realized is that there are, unless you have the you have the conviction that you really want to do what you are doing, and you feel that you are walking in the right direction. You don't know whether you are doing well or not, especially early on. It requires that conviction for you to go through the downs. Otherwise, it is very easy to give up at a lot of that point. And you are not always able to see the road right up ahead, because आगे जाके शायद एक राइट भी लेना पड़ेगा यहाँ आने के लिए. अभी आपको सिर्फ सामने का रास्ता दिख रहा है. So I think that sense of conviction in what you are doing, that sense that yes, ये direction ठीक है, हो सकता है अभी मैंने पूरा figure out नहीं किया है मुझे exactly क्या करना है. I think that belief in yourself, that sense of conviction, and it comes at different points of time to different people depending on what your experience has been. I think that is important, and then you have to be able to withstand the ups and downs. Make sure your conviction is allowing you to do that, because there will be ups and downs. It's not a linear journey.
The entrepreneurship, for sure, it's a roller coaster ride. I will not say ups and downs. I have been into this journey. When I started a solar in 2008 and 9, there was no taker in India. And so it was a roller coaster ride. But your conviction, I will say a vision which comes through a conviction, and if you are aligned to your vision, the success is bound to come in. So with a small roller coaster rides, if you give up, it doesn't happen. So the entrepreneurship is like a early age of the Indian roads, where you doesn't know the potholes or the bumpies. It is bound to come in. It is surprises are built in. You have to live with it. You have to sustain with it. You have to have a willingness. Yes, I will. That's the most important entrepreneurship skill, that I will. And that makes you a success.
So I think it was a thoughtful discussion, and I'm sure that the people sitting here might have taken many inputs. And I'll say that let us start our journey from now. And next time when we meet here, maybe that we can see more entrepreneurs than what we are seeing today. Thanks a lot for sharing your inspiring story. Over to you,
Yes.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Before any vote of thanks, I will request any two regional council members present in the hall to please come on the dais for felicitation purpose. For felicitating our two most important panelists, we require two regional council members present in the hall. No one is present. Okay. Thank you, sir. Group photo. Now vote of thanks by CA Sanjay Jain, please.
Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of ICI EIRC, I extend my sincere gratitude to our dignitaries speaker for the insight and inspiring session for CA to CEO. Your strategies, perspective on leadership, governance, and value creations have added immense depth to today's seminar. We also thank to EIRC, Chairman, Office Bearer for program coordinating, and volunteers for this special seminars. A special appreciation to all the participants who actively engaged and committed to the professional excellence. Today, deliberations reinforce our collective aspiration to valid and compliance, professional to the strategic business leadership. Thank you all for patience hearing. Thank you.
सर आपने काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें बोली, मैं जितना उसमें से जो क्वेश्चन मैं ग्रास कर पाया आई जस्ट ट्राई टू आंसर दैट. तो जहाँ तक स्ट्रेटेजिक एचआर का सवाल है, व्हाट वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट एसेंशियली एज लीडर्स ऑफ ए बिजनेस वी आर लीडिंग पीपल, वी आर लीडिंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. हम लोग अलग अलग सिस्टम और प्रोसेस बनाते हैं कि भाई यू नो आप जब कंक्रीट पोर होगी तो ऐसे होना है, या जब स्टील यू नो बाइंडिंग होगी ऐसे होना है. All of that is fine, but there are various, especially in businesses like ours, which are project businesses. It's not a factory setup जहाँ एक जगह काम हो रहा है, same environment है रोज. Each site is different, and every day at a site is different. You are at a different stage of a project, etc. So there are a lot more variables in businesses like ours as compared to fixed place businesses. Every business has different challenges, but variables are higher in ours. तो ये I believe that you know ultimately हम लोगों को कंपनी के गोल से अलाइन कैसे करें कि भी हम अदरवाइज हम साइलोज में काम करते हैं. जो साइट वाला है उसका खाली काम ये है कि साइट को कैसे हम आगे बढ़ाएं, जो सेल वाला काम है उसको साइट से मतलब नहीं है, कंस्ट्रक्शन क्या है हमको ये. तो इफ वी कैन अलाइन पीपल टू द ओवरऑल ऑब्जेक्टिव दैट वी वांट टू डिलीवर आवर प्रोजेक्ट्स ऑन टाइम, वी वांट टू जनरेट प्रॉफिट्स फॉर आवर शेयर होल्डर्स, एंड इफ एवरीबडी कैन सी दैट पिक्चर एंड अलाइन इट विद देयर ओन पिक्चर कि भाई मेरे को भी आगे बढ़ने के लिए इफ आई एम डूइंग दीज थिंग्स, I think that is what essentially I mean. And HR के साथ the work that we do, for example, last week we had done a workshop with the entire leadership team to assess हर जन के strengths क्या हैं, and as a team what are the gaps in our strengths. So and how do we then work with each other? I am looking at a problem differently, somebody else is looking at it differently. So all of these aspects, and of course this is a huge topic, I can share a lot, and I'm not an expert, I can just share my experience, but even that I can so the idea कि हम लोगों को के साथ how do we deal with people, not with roles. हम engineer नहीं है, ये एक person है, तो how do we bring that into life, and how do we take care of their aspirations and marry it with the organizational aspiration. ऐसा नहीं है कि organization को building time पे नहीं complete करनी है या profit नहीं कमाना है shareholders के लिए, but the work to align this and for people to see the same picture, I think that is a big role. And I'll give you a small little example. When I was in fact on the audit side, I used to audit Wipro as part of the KPMG team, and I used to see Mr. Azim Premji, this was the campus in Sarjapur which was their headquarter. Mr. Azim Premji used to walk with another gentleman during lunch hour, actually run around the campus. And I used to ask my seniors that who is this gentleman? Every day he's only working with Azim Premji, and he said he's the HR head. His name was Mr. Anurag Beher back then. And मुझे समझ में नहीं आता था because वो 25 साल पहले for me HR used to mean salary processing, HR used to mean attendance mapping, HR used to mean, and I was like, why is Mr. Premji working with the HR head? Because I could not but as I have kind of now for the last many years been leading an organization, I appreciate and I realize that I should have been doing this 10 years ago at my own level in so I think that is the shift that I am talking about, and I think to me that is the single largest set of skills I am trying to master for the next many years. Thank you.
being taken care of by the government, and how people are, you construction builders are looking at that?
देखिए, again, this is a very wide topic, but I can tell you again in a short way. See, the government, so I'm also currently president of CREDAI Kolkata, and as CREDAI, we very deeply engage with the government across national, states, and I can speak more specifically about our role. And the government is at least willing to listen to, and let me give you one or two concrete examples instead of making it very theoretical. So, a few years ago, we went to the government and kind of spoke about that if we want to make development more sustainable, how do we do that? And of course, the thinking has to come equally from private and so we told them that, let us give little extra FSI to all green buildings. And now for the last many years, Calcutta Corporation, if you have a green certified building, you get 10% extra FSI thing. So there are many things like this which the government and people work together, but I think we are out of time, so I'm going to quickly shut up, but thank you so much.